scarier that more people
I think it's scarier because of all of them are here.
Yeah. You wanna just wear that on?
Yes.
This is gonna go on the left.
Huh?
It's going to go on the left.
Okay.
The other side.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's great.
So you gotta speak quite closely.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
All right.
Nice.
You guys ready? We've got a lot of people behind, by the way.
Yes, many.
They're all your friends. You know, when I came in through the door, right, I was surprised. Like, who is Ryan? Is Ryan even in the crowd? Anyway, thanks for coming, man. By the way, is the camera running? It's running, right? All right. Thanks for coming, Ryan, to the show.
Thanks for inviting me.
We've got like it's like a live concert, man. We've got like 20 people behind the scenes. Give it up for Ryan, man!
Thank you.
Damn, this is a really huge crowd. I actually feel more nervous than you because there's people watching. Normally when I film, there's nobody. Anyway, welcome. Introduce yourself to all your friends who'll be watching this on YouTube.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Ryan. I'll be 26 this year. I've been riding for almost 2 years. And this is actually my 4th bike.
You have 4 bikes. I thought you just told me you only have a Giant. It's another one?
There were a few
Your
before
friend
that.
is laughing behind, by the way.
Yes. So along in my group of friends, there's a particular reputation for Giant brand.
Oh,
Yeah,
why is there a reputation?
Some say Giant 1 岁, but some people don't really agree. And then there are a few more disagreements there.
Maybe you want to introduce your club. So who are these guys? Are they from which group are they from?
Yeah, so if you take a look at my jersey, here on this side, yes, right? I ride with Central Roadies Singapore. There are we usually ride from Caldecott, Toa Payoh area. There are quite a lot of people who stay around there. But there are of course riders from all over the place. And it's quite a big group. I think in our Telegram group there's about 800 of us over. Yeah, but active riders maybe about 100 to 200.
Yeah,
and we have rides almost every day, just different categories, different types of rides.
When I saw everyone, right, everybody's super chao ta, man. What happened? You guys went to Batam, isn't it?
Okay, let me show you this. Okay.
Don't know if the camera can pick it up, but look at that two-tone, man.
Definitely.
This is like Neapolitan ice cream, eh?
Indeed. So, a group of us, we just went to Batam over the last weekend. So, we had a lot of time barbecuing in the sun. Many of us had some difficulties with the weather. It's a very different kind of ride from our usual nighttime rides. The wind was crazy as well. So,
right. How's it like riding in Batam?
Oh, the roads are actually fantastic. Like imagine
compare it against TMCR.
Okay,
TMCR
imagine TMCR, but like for 100 plus km non-stop. Actually, no, one direction is only about 70, 80, but then there's the back road also. Except that you combine that with the rolling slopes of Mandai.
Oh, nice.
So up and down, but it's continuous, no lights, not much traffic. They will usually just overtake you. So you can just, it's very fun to roll. Descents, you just tuck in and you go at like 70, you pedal a bit more, maybe hit almost 80.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you recommend everyone to give it a try?
One day, definitely. Be prepared, the sun is... you can see it for yourself. Definitely.
So what, were you guys like riding the whole entire day? Like morning till night?
Kind of. We took the morning ferry in. So we started our ride around 10 a.m. Batam time. Our objective was to reach back to our hotel before sundown. At least for those who completed, they managed to get just around that time. I think 1 or 2 rolled in just after sundown. So it was really a full day of riding. Of course, our lunch was actually quite late, around like 2 plus, 3 o'clock. Yeah.
So how did you get to know Central Roadies Singapore? Give a shout out to them since they're all watching here.
Yeah, so you can go and follow them on Instagram, Central Roadies Singapore. Just no spaces, no caps, anything. It's just Central Roadies. Yeah, I kind of chanced upon them on Telegram. Or rather on Instagram, then they had the link to their Telegram group, so I joined it. Then once so at first I was staying in hostel in school in NUS, so I was riding on my own. But once I moved back, I was quite near Caldecott, so I was like, okay, if there's this group riding, might as well, let me just join them, see how it's like. Yeah, and since then it's been quite a lot of fun, laughter, a lot of interesting rides as well.
Tell us about yourself. How did you get into cycling? You're a COVID cyclist. 4 bikes, by the way, so don't know if you're a COVID cyclist or not.
Okay. Strictly speaking, I guess most people call me a COVID cyclist. So okay, going back to when I was very very young, primary school age. So my parents would buy me like last time I actually like anything with wheels. So like cars, bikes, yeah, anything like got wheels can spin one. I like lah. So it was quite funny because back then my parents got me this bicycle from Giant Supermarket. You know those like few $100 you buy just to appease your kid kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to ride that around my condo. It was one of the older condos, so it was like very big, a lot of space. Then as a primary school kid, you shook a bit, right?
Yeah.
Until one day, first the tire burst. Then being a kid and not really knowing how to handle a bicycle, right? Just like spoil already lor. But after that got fixed, one day the crank just fell out. So I was like, okay. Then my parents like, not worth keeping this around cause
the crank fell out because you're putting too much power on the bike?
I have no idea. I was just a primary school kid then.
Yeah, he's nodding, man.
Yeah. Maybe that was the beginnings of being trying to be a sprinter lah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't trying it back then.
So you call yourself a sprinter? Are you a sprinter or a climber?
Definitely not a climber. Was struggling in Batam with the rolling hills. Even Mandai I'm struggling.
Right.
But yeah, the flats are beautiful.
Okay, so tell us about the bikes that you've owned after the supermarket bike.
So after that, I actually didn't have my own bike for many years. Was kind of a bit afraid to spend on a bike. At the time, being a student, not really having a lot of my own money or building up my savings. So I was like, should I really get it? Should I not? Not really sure, right? Until actually COVID hit. So at the time when I moved into hostel, I was considering like, should I buy a PMD? So I was planning to get e-scooter. Easier to go around campus. Then e-scooters got banned. So what to do? Cannot buy, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, maybe I should go get a bicycle. So my first bike, this was February 2021. Yeah, so just about 2 years ago. I bought a Giant Roam 4. So it's a hybrid bike. More mountain bike inclined than road bike-ish, but still a hybrid. And that was my first bike. Purely on pavements, PCN.
So it was like not a very expensive bike, just a mediocre price.
Yeah,
bike.
it was about $800.
Okay.
Yeah. So got it to commute around. That was good.
Right.
Then one day, hand itchy, foot itchy. What if I go on the road? Maybe I can get to my destination faster. So I went onto the road, of course with all the bought helmet, lights, everything. They're like, fun eh? Then I think, maybe I can change to a road bike, At the time I was also doing a bit of grab food. Then I was thinking, okay lah, if I do a road bike, can get around a bit faster, ride on roads. Maybe that will do a bit easier, right? Shorter time between picking up things, dropping them off. So okay, I went to browse around. And then I got a Java Vesuvio. Yeah, so that was my first ever road bike. Being the absolutely creative mind I am, I call it roadie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so first road bike, roadie, rode it around. I think I rode it for about almost 1,000 km. Then I was like, I started watching a few videos, talking to my friends, and like, hey, you should try DI2. So my Java had a kind of a mixed group set. Like on paper it says 105, but there was like its own OEM brakes. The crank and the cassette were all like different brands, right? So I was like, okay, maybe I should consider DI2. And that's when I went back to Giant. Okay, I didn't get it first hand, but I bought it off Carousel. I got a Giant TCR Advance SL. So that was my first, I would say, high-end-ish road bike, right? Because the TCR Advance SL is like the highest range in the TCR line. Right? So I'm sweating a lot because I think it's the sunburn from Batam.
The roasting hasn't started, but he's already sweating, man. Gary, can we like turn on the aircon a bit?
Yeah.
He's really sweating. I don't know, nervous. Because all your friends are watching you.
Maybe. Yeah, I think it's maybe like nerves and a bit of the sunburn from...
if we were at Upper Boon King, I think you'll be sweating buckets, man.
Wow.
Upper Boon King is 10 times as hot as here.
To be fair, I think if Upper Boon King, I don't know if all of them would be here because you will also just be as hot. Yeah.
No, it'll be more scary in Upper Boon King, right? Because all the uncles and aunties who are very near my car park are like watching me, like, what the hell is this guy doing? And like people who drive their car at the car park.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it should be much cooler now.
Okay,
Thank you, Gary.
We'll see how that goes.
Okay, so the Java Vesuvio, you said you wanted to just kind of get a feel of riding on a road bike, getting commute faster. Then you kind of fell in love with road biking, or how do you?
Yeah, so I guess going on the road, being able to like just ride freely. So okay, I absolutely hate running. It kind of explains my size, but I still because I was still like, kind of a sports person. I played basketball, played frisbee. So even though I hate running, like okay, maybe I can just use it as a form of exercise. So that's where I kind of got into cycling on the road. Got into cycling with one or two of my friends who used to ride. Now they don't really anymore because they went overseas. Yeah. And that's where I kind of fell in love with riding. So all this of course happened during COVID. And it was good to like cycle around, no need to wear mask. You know, back then even outdoors you had to wear a mask, right? Yeah, it was a very freeing sensation. Then also that was before I got my car, so like commuting. So it was a very funny story. I had to visit my friend in the east. I was staying in NUS. My friend was staying around the Telok Kurau area. So that's around Siglap, that area, right? It was faster for me to cycle than to take the bus or train.
But how you can't do it in Singapore's weather, right? Like commuting every day is like so damn hot. Like look at here, we're in aircon sweating already, bro.
That's where a change of clothes is very handy. Change of clothes and a towel, and then you ask, "Hey bro, can I shower at your place?" Then that usually solves
That's if
most
you have
of
a
the
lot
issues.
of friends scattered around Singapore, right?
Yeah,
you just go and
yeah.
ask them, "Can I shower at your place?"
Yeah, but I guess I mean when you're walking to take a bus or a train, you're gonna sweat that much anyway. So might as well, just ride, sweat a little bit more, so-called keep fit, and so that's where I kind of fell in love with cycling.
So what's wrong with the Vesuvio? Why do you change?
Sorry?
What's wrong with the Vesuvio? Why do you change?
Not really anything wrong. Just that, hand itchy, like try DI2 like okay. Then I went
So
to
it's the
browse.
DI2 story.
Yes. So
okay.
that's when I went to browse Carousel, take a look at prices. I was stunned. I was like, this is like 10 times the price of my original giant Rome, right?
But was this during the COVID price? The
Yeah.
COVID era?
It was. This was about July, August of 2021. Yeah, so it was like, whoa, these prices are crazy. And, with the bike shortage at the time and all that.
Right.
Yeah, I was seeing prices, like, I just went to search Ultegra DI2, right? Bikes were coming like 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. Until I saw one listing for TCR, it was 6,000. I was like, this is still within my budget.
Yeah.
I can try for that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I went to go and try it out. It fit nicely. So the TCR Advanced SL is a integrated seat mast, right? So once it's cut, it's cut. You can't like extend it further. Spacers can only bring you that far.
Yeah.
So that's when I tried it out. Hey, it fit nicely. I was like, okay, it's a sign. I'm gonna buy this.
But this is a second-hand one.
Yes, it was a second-hand one.
And the seat mast, the seat post was pretty long, or you have issues with that?
Not really. It was just about maybe this much off from what I needed.
Yeah.
A bit lower. So initially it felt okay. But I think as I rode a bit more, then that's why I got used to going a bit more aero position. So that's where, okay, maybe I can try raising the seat, the saddle a little, and then I went to go and buy the spacers, and they're not that expensive, like $15, $20 of Carousel.
Yeah.
Right, and then you just put it in, and hey, it fit nicely, so why not? It was
Your fans behind, they want to tell you something. Can you read it out to people who are watching because they can't see what's happening behind the scene?
Okay, so my friends are telling me to suck it in, and this is because of this, right? So this is why I say cycling is very useful for me, because even with all this exercise, unfortunately, I'm still very well-rounded.
Yeah. I got a challenge for you guys. You guys can roast team one question, okay? We will give you a chance. Okay, so that was on the TCR.
Yes.
You
yes.
enjoy that TCR Advance?
Yeah, it was, because that was my first high-end kind of road bike, right? And it came quite well equipped. I didn't have to spend on new saddle, new wheels or anything. I mean, to me, I wasn't really exploring like performance at the time. Like DI2 shock already lah, and the bike, it served its purpose, right? I could ride at that time I would consider it relatively fast. Definitely faster than the Java, so I was like, oh yeah, feels good.
So should new cyclists buy a Java, or should they just go Giant?
I would say somewhere in between, because I did have some difficulty trying to sell the Java, right? Because it's considered like a low-end bike, cheap China, or is it Asian carbon? And like, yeah, not many people want it, so I guess that was a bit of a challenge. I'll say that go for maybe one tier above that, right? But that was coming from a position that I already knew I enjoyed cycling. So it was like, the question was just which bike, It's not a question of, oh, do I really want to get into the sport, right? I guess for some people who are more unsure, then I think buying something that's more multi-purpose, like I guess like my first hybrid, right, the Giant Roam, that was a bit of a better entry point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not that expensive. I can use it purely for commuting, right? It wouldn't look so weird. Like you wouldn't get judgy stares. Wow, this guy ride road bike then go PCN. You know.
Yeah.
Some of my friends, they are nodding in agreement. They are claiming that they are allergic to PCN.
I think as all road cyclists, we are pretty allergic to.
Sometimes you take it out of necessity, lah.
And the road drivers will say you are not paying road tax.
This is where I can tell them I am paying road tax because I have my own car. But that's a story, separate story.
You're gonna get roasted in the comments.
Yes,
man.
I am gonna get roasted. Bring it. Bring
Okay.
it.
So the advanced, then this one, or there's another one in between.
Oh no, so the TCL was the third one. This is the fourth one.
This is the fourth one. Tell us about this one, man.
So also a bit of the context before that.
Sorry, can I cut you off? Sorry.
Yes.
How many bikes? What was the time frame for you changing each bike?
So between the Roam and the Giant Roam and the Java, it was about February to May, so about 3 months.
Okay.
Then from the Java to the TCR was also about there from about 4 months, from May to August. So yeah, I got poisoned quite fast.
Okay.
It wasn't this group of friends, but I blame some of my other friends that I started riding with in NUS in school.
Yeah.
Then they were the ones like, hey, go and try DI2 lah. Hey, try this one lah. Hey, this one nice. Yeah. My friend at the time was riding a SL6 and a Time Machine Road.
Right.
So he was more experienced of a cyclist.
Yeah.
So he also knew like, oh, this is nice. This is what's fun. Then he let me try. And like, yeah, feels good.
Yeah. Before we move on to V3RS, Isaac, right?
Yes.
Oops, am I supposed to censor that? I can censor it out. He's rolling on the floor. He wants to pass you something, man. No? Huh? Okay, I'll censor that section out. Okay, so V3RS.
Yes. So a bit of the story of how I got to this bike. So I was riding the TCR. I was enjoying it quite a lot. From August until about.
Oh wow! It's raining, man. What's it raining?
Yes. We'll see what it is later. We'll wait for the big review.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
maybe
so-
we should do it now while they are still around, man.
Oh, I didn't see where it went.
Oh, there's another thing that he's flashing. now we've got like teleprompters, man.
Yeah. Hey, you can recruit them for your show,
Yeah, we should, man. But I have to censor his name out, lah. So
Yeah. So an anonymous source is saying that what was it? Show again. You want to shout it out? I think the mic can pick up. Yeah. I'll read the letters out. Y'all can try to piece it together. TCR space SUX.
why, bro? I had a TCR, man. I wouldn't say it sucks, but it's a pretty good entry level just to get into road biking. Good second-hand value. Do you agree?
I would say honestly, it's not bad. It's not bad. And part of the
I can't read. I'm kind of blind, man. The
Okay.
teleprompter is saying something again.
okay, the teleprompter says giant trash. That's why. It's no. What?
Giant trash cause it's had not have.
Oh,
That's why it's had not have.
But that's the case for every bike. It's always had not have, right?
True. You always have experience with your previous bikes. Then you never know what's coming next.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Right. Okay. That's on TCR. So teleprompters are gone now.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. So V3RS, tell us the story of this.
Yeah, so so I was enjoying the TCR a lot. I was riding quite frequently. And in fact, that's what kind of prompted me to start my kind of riding account on Instagram. So yeah, you can go and probably in the description or
Yeah,
something.
shout
right?
it out, man.
Yeah, you can go and follow it at ridethrough_rides. Yeah, so that's where I was like, okay, since I'm going into this, like I'm kind of invested in this sport. Let me just like document my own adventures. You know, the people I ride with, the experiences I have. So that, one day you will stop riding, right? Whether it's by choice, by circumstance, whether the bike is not available or you're not available to ride. You can look back at all these and it's nice to see what you did before, right? So until one day I asked my friend, hey, let's go for Round Island tonight outside. Then he was, sure. So we were in NUS, we were going to go out by South Buona Vista, do Round Island, come back up by South Buona Vista, back into NUS. So 500 meters in, so this was still within NUS in Newtown, next to Yale NUS, the downslope, right? I was just like rolling along because, you know, starting to warm up, move a bit on the bike, just spin the legs a little. But on the downslope, I was like, let me take it chill, let me just roll down. Then there's this car ahead. I looked down to avoid a drain cover, right? You know, Singapore drain covers, they're not the nicest to ride on, they're all bumpy and all that. So I avoided it, but I looked up and I was like, oh no, the car is way closer than I expected it because he stopped on the road and I didn't see him stop. Yeah, even though I hit the brakes, I rear-ended him in about 29-30 kilometers per hour. So
were you like flying like a Superman after that?
Surprisingly, no, because I guess I was clipped in, so the bike kind of stopped. My helmet hit his rear windscreen. So, yeah, there were a lot of cuts to my face. But
sorry for laughing, but I can't picture it happening.
Yeah, I guess there'll be pictures. I think this is where you can insert some pictures to kind of take a look. Yeah, so I kind of hit. Then, basically everything just stopped, right? Because the car didn't move, obviously, he was on the brakes. My bike stopped, so because I was clipped in, kind of like stopped me from flying further. Yeah, so, yeah, the rear windscreen shattered, the rear bumper was a bit dented in. Yeah, and that was the end of my bike that I named Roadie 2 because it was the second road bike, right?
And so where was the parts where it was broken again?
So, okay, on the frame, surprisingly, all the damage was on the frame itself, right? The top tube, the down tube, the front fork one side was also snapped. And then the bottom bracket had cracks as well. So it on one hand is like, you know, wow, heart pain, you know, the bike that you spend 4 digits on. It's not a small sum, especially at the time I was still a student, right? I wasn't working. Yes, I have savings, but you don't want to touch your savings, right? So like heart pain, but at the same time it's like, wow, quite cool because you see the carbon snap, then you see all the individual strands, like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what's inside the bike. Then I guess I was quite thankful also because like I could worry about, oh, the bike is this is gonna cost a lot, rather than saying, oh, I'm broken.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
But you had no broken bones whatsoever.
No, not even a concussion. So it was really quite amazing.
Was the driver pissed off that you rear-ended him?
Kind of, he was going on for about like, see lah, rough translation is like, see lah, I have to cancel all my jobs, I cannot go and drive, I earn money, all that. You know, the usual typical grab uncle kind of thing. But interestingly, I guess because of the nature of the accident, where he stopped, how I ended up crashing into him, there were no like insurance claims against each other. So yeah, that was quite, I would say I'm very thankful for that lah.
And then that's why you got this bike.
Yes, so I was like, yes, it's gonna cost it's gonna cost a lot to get a new bike. But I also don't want to give up riding, you know. And I guess sometimes you're just hand itchy, butt itchy. You need to get back on the saddle, right? So I was like shopping around, like, okay, maybe let me go for like buy first hand. At first I was thinking because I could actually salvage the group set, some of the finishing components as well. So I was thinking of just going for a frame, just buying a new frame. So I was looking around. Took a look at Specialized, they only had S-Works frames, and I was like, those are very pricey. Then I looked at some other ones. I considered Factor, but they were selling more like complete bikes, right? Some of the other brands I considered, Orbea, I couldn't really find, at the time, or figure out where the local distributors were. So I couldn't like go and try the bike or take a look and see it in person. Yeah, I considered going back to Giant, thought for a while, but no stock. Yeah,
so if they had stock, you'll go for the Giant?
I would have considered. Yeah, and this was also, I guess, about 2 months before they announced the new Propel. Low key, if the Propel was already announced, I would have gone for that.
It is a nice Propel.
It is.
I like it.
They once they refreshed it, it looks so much nicer.
Yeah.
It's like they really merged the TCR and the Propel together.
But if Giant had stock, you'll get the Propel or the TCR?
At that time, I would have gone for the TCR.
TCR.
Yeah.
Not looking for an aero bike?
I still wanted some form of lightweight, and with this size, aero is not exactly the bike as aero as it is. The rider not very aero,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You'll get there.
Hopefully, eventually.
Yeah. Okay, so then the Colnago, right? You said you didn't get it from Hub Leong, you actually got from One Bike Asia.
Yes. So, quite interesting story. So, when I went to Hub Leong, I went to take a look at some frames. I also looked at Merida, Cannondale. Again, the nice ones that, you know, the colors that I wanted. No stock, no size. Either it was way too small, way too big. So obviously I can't go for those. Then I looked at then I happened to be talking to a friend. Then we somehow mentioned the V3RS. I think it also happened that at the time it was like the lead up towards the Tour de France. You know, it's like it was in May. So like,
Pogacar's bike, right?
so yes. Unfortunately I have nowhere near his legs or anything. I would love to, but some people are just more blessed than others. I'm just blessed in different ways, I guess. Yeah, so that came out in conversation, so I was like, let me consider it. Because it was considered like an all-rounder. So yes, it looks neat, right? With the potential for integrated cabling. It's still quite lightweight. Somewhat aero as well. Like it's not a full out-and-out aero bike or a full climbing bike, but it's kind of a mix of both. So I was like, okay, I'll consider this. So I actually wanted to get the black and green one, black and lime green color.
I filmed one of that.
Sorry?
I filmed one of that.
Yes,
The
I
black
think
and
it was.
green is-
I saw the
Caleb.
episode. It was quite some time ago.
Yeah, very long time ago.
Back when you were still filming in the daytime.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I considered that one, either that or the white and blue one. Unfortunately, both also didn't have stock. So this was at Hap Leong. So when I went to ask, like, hey, do you have any more of the V3RS frames? They had the V3, not the V3RS. So they asked me, hey, why don't you go and take a look at One Bike Asia? Because either Hap Leong supplies them or One Bike Asia supplies Hap Leong. They have this, they do share the stock. So they're like, okay, they just got one shipment in, so you can go there and check if that was your size. So I went down to One Bike. I went to ask around, and then they did have my size.
They did have your size.
They did. But they didn't have the color I wanted.
Which was the
black and lime green one. So the thing I miss most about my TCR is actually the color. Because it's not a very common color in Singapore. I mean, there are a few very bright colored bikes, but very few that are like lime green. Kind of lime greenish. Yeah.
Okay, wow. So many questions on my head. Let me just pick one.
Sure.
So what appealed to you about the V3RS that you wanted to buy it so badly? I mean, aside of Giant not having stock and stuff like that.
I guess because honestly speaking, it just looked nice. It
looks
good.
nice, okay.
It looked good. And I mean, in a sense, performance-wise, no one's gonna really question, is it really good or not good, right? And you also don't see that many Colnagos around. So I was like, okay, why not, right? Let me just spend a little bit more. It was a bit more than I was budgeting for.
Let's talk about price. Is it okay if we mention?
Yes,
yeah,
sure.
How much was it?
So, the amount I spent on the bike was about $12,085.
This is not the full bike, right?
No. So, I'm already preempting some of the questions because some of you will look at the bike and like, what's this guy doing? Why does he have, of all brands of wheels, right? Giant.
Yeah. That's the questions. I think I'll flash all those questions. I think a good half of the Q&A came in. It's like, what's up with the wheels, man? Giant wheels on the Colnago bike.
So remember, I just said that it was a little more than I budgeted for. Yeah. So I didn't have.
So it all went wrong.
Yes. I didn't have enough money to get new wheels. But the amazing thing about during my crash was that only the frame sustained damage, right? So and one of the DI2 wires, but that was easily replaced. The wheels were perfectly fine intact. So at One Bike, they went to check through every component, see what they could salvage. Handlebar, stem, they're still at home. I'm trying to sell them.
So 12,000 is the price for the frame and
frame, group set, handlebar, stem, labor. Yeah.
Right.
That's
So
about
12K Ultegra DI2 12 speed.
Yes.
No wheels.
No wheels. No wheels. No saddle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So, but maybe if you want to run through the group sets and stuff that you have on here on your bike.
Yeah. So what I have on is basically the Ultegra DI2 hydraulic group set. So the disc brake one. So I'm a disc brake kid. Not really that I have anything against rim brake, but I just feel like disc brakes look cooler.
Have you tried rim brake?
Way back. Like
just gotta put it out there for the rim brake lovers.
Way back when I was a young kid lah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe because I'm a car guy, so like disc brakes, they work on cars, they look good on cars.
Rim brake lovers who on the comments and viewership will say that this is not a car.
Yeah, it's not, but I mean, if I'm the rider that I like it, then sure, why not, right? It's your preference. I mean, yes, people can judge you, they can talk smack, but in the end, it's your bike, you enjoy it, so why not? Yeah, so I got the Altega Di2 12-speed disc brake and group set. Then I guess moving up. Okay, the wheels, I mean, we all know is the elephant in the room, Giant SR1 that I carried over from the TCR actually. So I am planning, I don't know when, but sometime in the future to swap wheels. Some friends are trying to sell me the wheels very insistently.
Which one?
The camera.
I think it's the Windspace, isn't it?
Yeah, Windspace Hyper. I did look at that initially.
But that is not, that's a very, I would say pretty shallow. How deep are those?
I think those are actually deeper than my current
40s?
wheels.
50s.
Yeah, 50s. The ones I have here are 42s.
8mm, I don't think it'll make any difference, man.
Not much. In Batam, you still feel the whole thing just woo, you know. You're going on the descent at 70, you still feel the whole bike just
So it was a budgetary issue that you got with this Giants?
Not really that I got. It's just that it survived.
From the previous bike.
Yeah,
right.
Why not just use it? You know, even if I plan to upgrade it, I can still use it for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, then down the line when budgeting is a bit more comfortable.
What are you looking at?
I was really considering the Campac Bora WTOs.
Keeping it all Italian?
Not really, just they look good lah.
But wheels are wheels. See, my wife behind there, right? I would just tell her I want to buy new. She's like, oh, it looks the same, and why are you spending like 10,000, 20,000 on wheels?
Not all wheels look the same.
So actually, if you have a girlfriend or wife, right, that's what I heard from one of my friends. So when he buys wheels, he makes sure it looks the same as the previous one, so that his wife wouldn't find out. So it looks exactly the same.
There are two schools of thought. One is that you get it as close to look the same, so that no one suspects anything.
Yeah.
The other one is it must look different. Otherwise, you know.
What's the point of buying things?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you spend so much, then there's no change. Like buy for what?
Yeah.
Right. Then people are like, hey, you're not spending your money wisely. But if there's a big change, then okay, yeah, you actually spend your money to buy something different. Yeah.
So that's the story on the wheels. But so far it works well. It held up in a crash.
It held up in a crash. It survived Batam and came back. It survived more than my legs did lah. So
running on clinchers or tubeless?
Clinchers. So
GP5000.
Yeah, GP5000 clinchers. So interestingly, when I bought my TCR, it came on Schwalbe Pro 1 tubeless. But I think it wasn't, when I bought it, it wasn't very well maintained or something. So in that sense, it wasn't a very good first experience with tubeless lah. And I had this flat that just couldn't, I think it was an issue with at the valve area. Not sure, and the tire was worn. So I was like, you know what, let me go back to something that I'm familiar with and comfortable with. So that was clinchers.
Right. Okay. So that's on wheel sets.
Yes.
What else are we missing? You got the saddle.
The saddle. So it's slightly out of the frame. But basically the saddle is also a carryover from the TCR. But I really have no complaints here. It's the CADEX Boost. Yeah. I mean, I sit on it. It's comfortable. It fits my butt. Yeah,
And
no reason to change.
Yeah, if it fits for you, no point changing, right?
Yeah, I think saddle is one of the things that more people are willing to let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about let's talk about the
handlebar
cockpit.
cockpit. So I got the 2-piece bar and stem combo because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go like all in with the integrated. I mean I wanted integrated cabling, but full 1-piece. I was like not sure. And also at the time because I wasn't really sure of the sizing. You know, some people they really dive into their bike and they know like, okay, I need this long of a stem, this long of a handlebar. So I was still trying because on my TCR I had a 38 cm bar. 38 cm, 38 cm, right?
Yeah, 38 cm, yeah, not
38
mm. Speaking of this, right, somebody gave me, you know, when I asked you for a description of everything, right?
Yes.
So they gave me the inseam. And someone actually publicly pointed out in one of my videos, like, dude, are you sure this is, like, his inseam was 39 centimeters? It's impossible, right? 39 centimeters. Apparently, it was supposed to be inches, and he, like, commented it publicly on my YouTube videos. Like, bro,
oh, no.
How short is this guy riding the bike? He doesn't look like 39 centimeters.
See, this is a problem with the world. Why are there different units of measurement?
Imperial measurements, and it's okay. So,
it's okay.
38 centimeters bars.
Yeah. So, this one's actually 40.
40.
For this particular handlebar, I have it's the Vision Metron 4D flat MAS bar. So why I got this bar was that, you know, a lot of carbon bars, firstly carbon and aero bars, you don't really have the option to clamp on the TT bar extensions. I was thinking like, if one day I want to try it, or if I really want to go and participate in a time trial that allows road bikes, but I don't have money for another bike, right? Then at least I can, I have that option. And if I don't, it's still quite a nice looking aero bar.
Have you fixed
aero
any
bar.
TT bars on this before?
Not this one. I've tried on the TCR before. Those like cheap $25 off carousel aluminum bars, but they didn't fit very well. So I was like, okay, now my adventure for another time.
But I don't know, man. Like planting TT bars on a road bike, oh god, it looks so ugly. Sorry to say, but I mean, like people do race. I mean, they're much faster than me, but the looks of it, man, I just can't get my head over like TT bars on a road bike.
I have to admit, it does look a bit weird, which is also why I took it off the TCR initially.
Specialized has the other TT one, which is much more shorter. It's not the really pointy one.
It's like this, just like this.
Yeah,
these
the smaller
two
handle.
Hand grips.
Yeah, hand grips.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's on the bars.
That's on the bars. So I actually experimented with 42 first. Then I felt that it was a bit wide. I think because I naturally tend to like kind of rotate my wrist a little. So when it's closer together, it doesn't feel that awkward. Whereas if it's wider, then somehow the angles just don't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the weight of the bike?
So the weight.
Which we will get roasted on the weight actually.
Yes.
Let me just pull up all the questions on the weight. But
the
go
last
ahead.
the last I weighed it, it was with like as is without bottles, it was 8.2. But I think I had my lights on.
We'll wait later.
We'll have the scales of truth, right?
So I think most of the questions, besides the wheels, which I think you have already addressed, which you mentioned, the elephant in the room. So then on the weight, right? It's pretty heavy for a non-aero bike.
Yeah.
What's the reason for the heavy weight? Is it the frame that's heavy? What's going on?
I guess part of it is the wheels. The SR ones are not the lightest wheel set around. I mean, yes, they're carbon, but I've tried. I've lifted my wheel versus my friend. I think he was using a set of Hunt wheels, right? Or another carbon wheel. It was a lot lighter. I was quite shocked actually at the difference, because at the time I was like, both are carbon wheels. Both are about the same depth. Like, how different can they be? Then I lifted like, whoa, okay, they can be very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, sorry, you want to say something?
No.
On the color, so this is called a frozen what?
Frozen white.
Frozen white, and you said you have to pay more for the paint, right?
Yes, it's like a special colorway. There's a red version of this, also costs as much. The difference is about $500 as opposed to like the black and lime green or the white and blue one that I wanted to get.
So $500 more expensive.
Yes.
Okay. You've got Assioma power meters. Anything that I missed out? I think it's pretty standard.
Yeah, Assioma power meters with Ultegra pedals. So I just got the spindle so that they just slotted it into my pedals.
Yeah.
Rather than getting a whole new set of pedals.
Bike fit. Gary always pays attention to me when I ask bike fit questions. Did you go for a bike fit?
Yes,
no, more
I
specifically, do you go to Gary or not?
Oh no, at that time I didn't. Okay, at that time I didn't know Gary or Shane or anyone here. The moment
Judging you, man.
Moment bike fit was mentioned, Gary just
So did you go for a bike fit or?
Yes, I did. So at one bike, they recommended me to go for bike fit because I was kind of in between sizes, and especially going from the way like Giant sizes it and different brand size it, right? Not all the same numbers or the same measurements mean the same thing. So like on Giant, I was riding a size M, and that's a very wide range itself, right? Especially when you come to like brands like Colnago or even some those that go like even specialized, right? 50, 52, 54. The sizes are a bit smaller increments. So I was like kind of in between, didn't really know what size to get. So I was like, okay, might as well. If I'm splashing this much money on a bike, get something that's comfortable, get something that I know will fit, right? As gimmicky as some people will say is, I still think that there's at least a bit of value in that. And I guess they were nice enough to kind of throw it in.
So you did ID match?
Yes, I did ID match.
How much do you have to top up? Was it a discounted price because you bought the frame from them?
I guess it was sort of discounted. Yeah, they kind of like, I guess, put it together with the price of the bike.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would say, at least for someone in my position, it was quite useful because, like, firstly, there were certain measurements that I didn't realize that it was like that. Like, yes, you ride, you feel comfortable, but is it optimal? Not necessarily, right? As much as they say comfort is one thing, sometimes what you feel comfortable with may not necessarily be the best thing for you also.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, you just fit one time and that's it. Right?
But-
There was a bit of like follow up, go back for a refit, go and try again, try adjusting different positions.
But speaking about in between sizes, so I was I am in between sizes for a specialized. So when I got my SL6 before my current bench, I stand at 173 centimeters tall, 80 centimeters inseam, right? According to specialized chart, I'm in between a 52 and a 54. So I got my SL6. I wanted to try a 54. I got the 54. Bad decision. It's huge. Like, okay, you feel much more comfortable, but the reach wise and you don't feel as flexible, so I had to shorten my stem to a 90. It looks horrendous on the bike, really ugly. So I mean, people out there who are watching, right, you got in between sizes, I will always say go for the smaller one. At least you got more room to play with, right? That's what everyone says anyway.
In some sense, I guess so. But I guess also depends like whether you're going more aggressive or you want a bit more comfort. Like if some people, they don't really care about the aesthetics of the bike, then sure, if they want the bigger size, go for it. For me, I feel like if you have a smaller, you can't make a bigger bike smaller, but you can make a smaller bike bigger by, whether it's the height of your saddle, extending the stem, length of the handlebars.
Yeah.
Right. It's easier to, you have more leeway to go smaller frame and then so-called bigger finishing kit, as opposed to having a bigger frame and then you can't really downsize it because there's a minimum like length and height to that bike.
Any more upgrades to the bike, or can you mention any dislikes? Anything they don't like about the bike, or you think it's wrong?
Let me think. Anything I would want to upgrade? I guess aside from the wheels, not really. I'm kind of happy with where it is now. Of course, some people say, yeah, you can always get it lighter, right? I mean, if I have the money I want to spend, can is can lah, but do I want to spend?
Everybody wants their bike to be lighter, buying the most expensive parts, just shaving a
Yes.
few 100 grams. And then commenters will say, bro, save your money, just cycle more, lose weight on your body, and you'll be faster.
I guess like I would love to change to swap the wheels, but like I say, I guess there's no rush for that now. Right? It's something that I plan for the future. There's no set date for it, but that also makes it, I guess, a bit better. Like I guess one thing that I appreciate going from, like just the bikes alone, right? Going from a Java to a TCR to a Colnago is that you feel the difference in every bike actually. Going from the Java to the TCR was, I would say, the biggest jump. From the TCR to the Colnago was a bit of a smaller jump, but because the two bikes are very different by nature, right? The TCR is really climbing, supposed to be a climbing bike, as opposed to this Colnago, which is kind of an all-rounder, like kind of aero, kind of lightweight at the same time.
Yeah.
You do feel the difference, even if it's not necessarily better, but there is a difference in how it feels, how it rides. Yeah.
Can I go with the questions now?
Sure.
Okay. You guys want to ask questions, by the way? You want a teleprompter?
Well,
I give you a chance to think. Okay, I asked some of the questions that you guys submitted.
Yeah.
So the first one, I think, is we've addressed the wheel set, so I think I will ignore that one.
Yes.
This is actually from my cousin.
Oh.
We used to mountain bike together. So his question is, what's the top speed that a road bike can go?
So, there are a few different top speeds. Going up, it's limited by your legs. For me, I think going Mandai, I think we've managed to hold like about 31, 32. Thanks to my friends who have absolutely no mercy for my legs.
70 to 100.
Okay, going on back to Batam, right? Going on down slopes. Yeah, I really hit 70.
70?
And that was barely pedaling. Like, yes, I'm in the tallest gear, I'm pedaling a little bit. Okay, but my legs were also like starting to cramp, so I couldn't really like, full gas.
But how's it like
speed.
70 on this bike, man? Does it feel wobbly? Does it feel secure,
I
stable?
think the wobbly only came from the crosswinds. Yeah, because even holding speed on the flat about 35, 40, I don't know whether the roads are smoother or anything, but yeah, we were holding like 35, 40 for like stretches of flats. It felt very nice and very stable. Like you didn't feel that it was fast. You know some bikes when you go around 30, 35, feels like, whoa, this is like, it's an adventure. But this one was like, okay, it's just like that.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, and of course, as I've come to discover in my riding group, there are ways to go faster, increase the top speed also. One of which,
You wanna show us a sample? No, you can throw it over.
yes.
Come.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. Oh, I can't reach it, man. Right.
One of it, this tool is very, very useful
Wow.
to get faster. Comes in different shapes and models. If you want, you can hit up CRS, Central Roadies. You can arrange for a free session, free trial.
So does the CRS carry this on their back pocket?
Depends. Some say is this kind. Got some say it's the hotel kind, but yeah, got. See, right, we custom make our another set of jersey and bibs. So got back pocket, got side pocket also, cause the cargo bibs, right? So got many different options to choose from. Yeah, you can arrange a free trial with Central Roadies anytime. I don't know if this is endorsed by the admins, but
Apparently, I heard, right, with that you will get a lot of PRs. Someone was just showing me their Strava, 70 over PRs with this method. If it works, right, I want to join CRS, man.
come. You can come and find out for yourself.
And they ride at night, I ride at night, in my workout.
Yeah. Collab right. Might as well,
Collab,
right?
huh?
Collab right.
Okay, so moving on.
Yes.
Is it compulsory for an Italian branded bike to have an Italian flag? You've got a big ass Italian flag there, man.
Oh, that's a good question. I think I've seen some Italian frames without, but okay, as far as I know of, I think it's a kind of a stereotype, but Italians are usually very proud of their heritage, very proud of their country. So I think it's not really mandatory, but like it's like if they don't put, then they cannot sleep at night.
But were you attracted?
No offense to any Italians watching this.
Were you attracted to the Italian flag though on the scheme, or would you think it would look better without the flag?
I think it's actually quite a nice touch, right?
Gives you a bit of flavour.
Yeah, it does. It's not everything just looks white. I think that was one of the so-called issues with the red one that I was looking at. So it's almost the exact same colorway, just that everything is red. And I think that one was a bit too overwhelming because it's like red in your face, and then even with the Italian flag, red kind of just blends together, so you don't see that there's any detail or any that it's just like one solid color with a bit of texture. Whereas the white, I think that's where the flag kind of stands out a bit. So it does look good.
Next one, this is going to be a roast. Bro, and this is all in caps lock, by the way. I can't shout lah, okay? So it says, bro, your V3RS still put lousy giant parts, walao. Which part is giant Elu again?
Not Elu, it's carbon like the SR1 wheels. Technically the saddle is also giant, right? Because CADEX is like their performance version. Like BMW and their M, or Honda and their Mugen kind of thing. I just say lah, you sponsor, I okay one. You want me to change anything, you sponsor, I okay.
Sponsor everything also okay, man.
Yes. Yeah.
What size is this, by the way? So the question is this a large size? Seems heavy for a high mod frame. Love the bike though. This to cover up the roast earlier.
It's a size 50S, which I guess so this is where the sizing thing is a whole headache on its own. But I think like for some other brands, it's equivalent to like 54. Like I think the similar size for like let's say Specialized or even for Factor, it'll be like 54 around there. But this one is like 50S because apparently like sloping tube or something. The way they measure it is slightly different. Yeah, the equivalent is also like a giant size M.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer to this, but it's back to another roast from my friend, the rojak of a bicycle.
I actually have something to say for that though.
Okay.
In a sense, I guess I'm kind of proud of it. Yeah, it's quite rojak. I joke that I have no brand loyalty. For some fun facts, like my bike computer is a Wahoo, but I'm wearing a Garmin watch, right? My heart rate monitor is also Garmin, but I use like Apple iPhone. Then my computer is like Windows. There's like no brand loyalty, but I guess okay lah. As long as everything works, they serve its purpose.
But is it important for road bikes to have, you have to match like American parts? I've interviewed people where they say, I want to keep it all Italian, all American. Like Specialized have to go with Rovel wheels and stuff like that.
I guess sometimes you just see certain things, you expect certain like components to go with it, right? Like yeah, like if I have a Specialized frame and then put like giant, like it's probably even more giant because this one I can say at least no money. But people are like Specialized, you got their own in-house brand, then that's I guess part of that is why I'm considering the Campagnolo wheels. Already on my first few rides with CRS, there were a few people like, hey, why you never put Campec Super Record or something like that. I was like, firstly, I guess they're not very readily available in Singapore. And also like price lah.
Servicing and maintenance also, I heard.
Yeah. I mean, Shimano is a lot more well used, I guess.
Shane, do you do servicing for Campy? No, okay, he's nodding. Okay, never
He
mind.
shakes it.
Maybe after this video, he'll do it lah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hearsay. As of this recording, I guess hearsay that UAE Emirates is going to switch to Shimano.
Switch to Shimano. Wow.
Yeah, hearsay.
Okay.
Apparently.
This is gonna test your knowledge about Colnago. You ready?
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't be able to answer this question. I have a very poor research knowledge. So, stunning paint job. Do you know the key differences between the V3RS and V4RS?
Wow, this one. I remember I read and watched a video about it because you just browse YouTube or you just like search online and then hey, articles just pop up. I mean the usual claims lah, lighter, stiffer, a bit more aero here and there. Honestly, I'm not sure what's the biggest difference. I think one of the biggest so-called functional differences, at least for people like us that are not like pro racers, right? I think they do include like some tool in the stem cap actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, that's kind of neat, but
Yeah.
Does it warrant changing a whole bike? Not when I just bought it.
Have you seen the new V4RS? Pictures?
Some of it looks very, very similar actually.
Very similar? I also
Yeah.
can't tell the difference, man.
Yeah.
I guess they're running out of ideas.
I mean, in a sense, I guess, if imagine there's this one set standard, right? Then eventually all your bike design is going to converge towards that, at least for this particular purpose of like racing and performance, right? I mean, if it's going for aesthetics, then sure, there's a lot of differences.
Still on the pop quiz. How
Yes.
can you tell the difference between a fake and original V3RS? Are there any fakes out there?
Wow.
I would think it's usually the weight. Usually weight will give it away.
Usually, yeah, I guess especially for OEM frames that I've heard, not that I've used any of myself, but I mean using a Java before, so supposedly like lower quality carbon, right, or lower grade carbon. The biggest difference will be the weight. I think when I was using my Java, it was like 9+ kg, and that was like on. Yeah, it was 9+ kg, almost 10 I think, with all my accessories on.
Yeah.
And that was like a carbon frame and your back. You can get an alu frame that's like same weight or lighter. Yeah, I guess the difference will be weight. Some people say you can feel the difference in the stiffness or the way it handles as also. Personally, I don't think I can really tell because haven't really tried to like suss out the difference between an OEM frame and a genuine frame.
Yeah. We are almost at the 1 hour mark, so I'll give your friends here who submitted questions, they'll get a chance here now. So the first question that I think I recognize, one of them behind the camera right over here, he says, what's the name of your bike?
Yeah, so the whole story to it. So remember how from the first road bike, the Java, it was named Roadie, right? So the TCR became Roadie 2 because second road bike. So initially I wasn't really thinking of changing the name because it was planned to be just a change frame, rebuild up the bike, then continue. And in fact, if you look at my Strava, my gear, I just changed the name, but it's still technically the same bike. Yeah, I just listed that, okay, the previous frame got wrecked and like, yeah. But now, due to some affectionate name calling from my friends, who may or may not appear in future interviews, it has been named Colgate.
Colgate. Interesting name.
Because they couldn't remember Colnago, and then got C, got O, then
Only one person.
The rest of them are like that's like pointing to the one culprit. Yeah. And Shane is like just laughing away because he was part of the naming process, so to speak. He was the first one that I guess got notified that it was named Colgate. Yeah, and it doesn't help. It helps that it's white, right? Like frozen white. So
I dig the color. Color is nice. What was the most painful ride you have ever done on this bike? Is it Batam?
Okay, I have this one. I got a different category one. So most painful physically, definitely I think it's Batam. Because the heat and the wind is. You ever encounter? Okay, you think Singapore winds like TMCR or Lamppost One, the winds are bad, right? Batam is when the wind hits, right, from riding like that, you end up like that.
I'm getting some slideshow of you in Batam.
Oh yes.
I think that's you because it's a bit far. Can I get those? Can I get those photos? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you'll see all these unglam photos like just pop out right now. But wow, the winds were so bad. Like, then you know the heat, right? So like if you unzip your jersey, you're like, okay, you know sometimes you unzip your jersey to like let out some heat. But then the wind hits, then you're like, is this worse? So
Hot
I don't know,
air.
is it hot or like get hit by wind, which is worse? Then you're like, I'm just gonna like zip up and like let's push through.
Yeah.
So physically most painful I think was definitely Batam because also both my legs were cramping. So I technically didn't finish my ride. Unfortunately. I made it to the lunch place. My friend made me eat my words because I was like, I also don't want to go support vehicle. Then he was like, you sure
Wait,
you
you
don't
guys
want?
had you guys had a support vehicle.
Yes, we had to.
Oh.
On hindsight, it was a good idea to have one.
Yeah. Do you had any mechanical issues in Batam?
Surprisingly, no, actually. We were actually more... The support we got was more for... I mean, yes, we were worried that some people... or that people wouldn't be able to continue or they'll need like to rest, top up water and so on and so forth. But surprisingly, no mechanicals.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe the roads are really just that much nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions or roles from the crowd to Ryan before we wrap up?
Yeah, I give them more time to think. So just like I said, the most physically painful was that time, right? Most mentally painful was this one ride. Okay, it was quite stupid because we were supposed to do like a Northern Cloud loop with CRS with my friends, right? But I was a bit dumb. I forgot to charge my Di2, so I actually brought my bike down from my house, down to like the lobby. I was about to go out, right? Then I was like, press the shifter to connect it to my Wahoo. Why is it not working? Why is it not moving? I was like, oh no, this
Were you
is
stuck
bad.
at like a very bad gear, like a super low?
No, it was actually on the small chainring and the small, the biggest cock because usually I shift it in when I bring it up. So I was like, oh no, this is not good. So I was like, let me go up, let me just plug it in to see if it's like whether the bad connection or really no battery. Turns out really no battery. So I just plugged it in, I let it charge for 15 minutes before setting off.
Yeah.
Then I was telling them, I messaged them, guys, you guys go first, I will try to chase.
Remember to charge your batteries.
Yes, remember to charge your batteries, kids.
Yeah.
So I tried to chase, right? So after that, I tried to chase. I just really just pushed it as far as I could. Then they shared their live location with me on WhatsApp. So I was looking at it. Like every time I had to stop at a traffic light, I'll look at it. Then I'm like, I'm always just 1 to 2 traffic lights away. And I feel like, okay, they're not that far. I can probably try to catch because they were not supposed to roll that fast. Supposed to lah. The supposed rolling speed was 28 to 31.
No, you
lah.
must always buffer for that. It's always, people say 28, 30. You never be that speed.
This is what I learned. Cyclists cannot, either you cannot trust them or they don't know how to count. So
It's
you
both,
see,
it's both.
Yeah,
It's
probably both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, they're not that far. Like I was at MacRitchie, the bus stop, right? That traffic light, and they were only just past Upper Thomson. Like not even on the descent yet, just past Thomson Plaza. So like, they're not that far. I probably can catch them. So okay, after that green light go, then I go. Then I like, go so long, how come I don't see them? Then every time I keep checking, they're just that constant distance ahead. Then I'm like, what is going on? I'm definitely going faster than their supposed rolling speed. And normally they're quite controlled lah. It's just I think it happened that ride was a little more. They're all blaming each other right now, just pointing at each other and like shirking responsibility. But yeah, so that was one of the more mentally painful ones because like I think I can catch them, but I can't.
Right.
And then I got stuck at traffic light. That was very demoralizing because you stop at traffic light, then you realize that they're just gaining distance, and then you're just never gonna catch them.
Yeah.
I finally met them at the rest point. So I was like, what's going on? Why y'all go so fast? Stop it! Stop scamming people.
It's always a scam, right? So any questions? No. If not, we're gonna wrap up.
Maybe you want to ask good case which one better, Dali or Colnago?
What?
Dali or Colgate better?
Dali or Colgate? Which is a Dali bike, man?
Wow, this one okay. To see Dali pearly white, right? Dali pearly white, right? Future interview, right?
Future interview. Oh, so this is your segue to nominate one person on YouTube.
Okay, I give bonus, buy one get one free, right? So this one got buy one many free. So you got a few. Y'all remember the names, then y'all just keep commenting, then he'll have no choice but to put them.
So you got Isaac, you got Sherlyn, you got Aloysius, you got who else? Oh, Minnie. Minnie is I tell you, she's an absolute monster. You all meet. Yeah.
So I hope to see all of them next time on your seat.
definitely. I hope to see all of them as
Just
well.
drag them here, man.
Shane, where's Shane? I'm sure can help to arrange to drag them here, right?
Shane, you give 50% off servicing if they come over lah. Yeah, put some lock time in their bearings. They start like, what's the secret? How do I get out of this?
Hey, don't even need to 50% off. They send the bike for servicing, the bike don't leave until they do interview. Right?
No, then they'll be very reluctant to do it, right? So it'll be very painful for me to interview them.
That one can get sorted out, don't worry.
Okay, man. Everyone give it up for Ryan!
Thanks for having me.
Que yo ya sé que de ti I got to stay, we got to stay. No, 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 no.